So since last week, one of the things that we got done was the session proposal to DrupalCon. So thanks, Keith, for posting that.
Sorry, Larry. For me, you broke up there. Could you repeat that?
Oh, so thanks, Keith, for posting the session submission to DrupalCon.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. That's good.
So that's something we need to plan at some point. Yeah, Mark, we can hear you, but once you're not talking, then we can hear some wind as well. But when you talk, we can hear you.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So we probably should schedule. So Christina, do you want to be like? I guess you have. Did you have some other presentations as well that you have to prepare?
Yeah, but it's fine, I guess. I mean, I can help you working on the presentation, even I'm on the presentation or not, so count with me.
Yeah.
And I can give the presentation or not. I guess it could depend if they pick any other of the presentation.
Yeah, so I was just about to say that no one knows if these presentations even get selected, but
exactly.
Yeah, but usually on these conversations, there is a relatively high chance that you get accepted.
Yeah.
Because of the number of proposals compared to the number of selected sessions is, I guess, highest on this track.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever got I don't think any of my core conversation proposals has got rejected. So.
Sorry.
Cool.
Yeah, so at some point we have to definitely start preparing that, probably after July, maybe August. And yeah, I also proposed one other presentation, so I like to be early on the preparing rather than last minute.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of if I have two presentations that I have to prepare last minute, it's going to be a lot of stress.
Yeah, sorry, I fell off there, but I get the just the end of the conversation there is basically to say, let's get preparing with slides and everything, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess after July, like after the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in overall, how are you? Like, do you want to keep doing the calls during summer, or do you want to take time off? How do you feel like?
That's okay for me.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it depends on who is on holidays. I won't do any holidays at all until September. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but it's fine. We can just stop and keep talking on Slack. It's fine.
Yeah, so I'm okay with the calls as well. Like, I probably will do quite some open source my holiday, but I will also try to take some time off. But for me, it's fine, especially now that the time is very good for me. Like, it's no problem at all having these calls anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm okay if we. I just I wanted to ask if anyone else is feels like that we should take time off.
I don't know.
I'm happy to keep going. I feel like it's helpful to keep some momentum from my perspective. Little and often is better than taking a big break for me. If we, as in little, if we get sort of held back by projects coming in or just holiday.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds okay. So I just wanted to ask to hear what do you think about this. So for me, this is fine. Anyway, I'm going to be on holiday from, let me check my calendar. So 17th is my first holiday day. So it's my last 2 weeks at work. So that's going to be pretty busy, I guess, as usual before the holidays.
Mhm.
I have to get everything shipped, so I will be probably doing less during that time. And then I will do more once I am on holiday.
Okay, I'll have to suss out how Hangouts Live works before then. Or get some help from someone else.
Yeah, I can organize the calls, but I just can't promise that I can ship many things during that time. Yeah, I'm pretty busy at work right now. But so one of the things that I saw Christina posted on the style guide, should we discuss that? I think that was a good base for starting the discussion.
Yeah, I just posted so we can see it. And I think the most important part here, and something that we could actually do right now, is defining some of the components and giving some names to it. Because I guess at some time we will have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, and another thing is that so far, most of the style guides that I've been looking for the index, I guess we could just go with one page style guide with anchors on one side or something like that. And I don't know if you think it would be easier to build just like one landing page, one really long page with anchors.
Yeah, I think it's easier to build something like that than multiple pages.
Cool.
Yeah, so I definitely, if that's fine with you, I definitely prefer that over from having multiple pages.
Cool. Great.
Yeah.
When we talk style guide, are we talking just HTML elements like P and UL, LI and things? Or are we talking about the full set of components that we're going to build, such as cards and sliders and?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess both, all of them.
Yeah.
All of it. Okay.
And yeah, definitely the idea is as well that once we build this style guide, that the CSS would be reusable for the team, essentially. So we wouldn't have to rewrite all of the CSS then.
Yeah.
Mark, you were cutting out. Can you repeat?
I said, okay.
Oh, you say okay. That's right. We're unlucky.
Good point. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so the idea how the style guide that I was looking at with the cost task at Frontend United, how it would work is that so it creates the style guide under the team, the appearance page in the admin UI, and it basically just creates one page for force loads the team and some CSS from that team, and then it will simply just like provide some markup that should be styled accordingly. So let's say if you update the styles later on, the style guide should be updated. So it's kind of a living style guide still.
Cool.
Even though it's not the most modern one, probably, in terms of technology.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it will work. And we shouldn't build something super hard on core on this profile.
Yeah. So I definitely would like to work on the creating the components, but I'm just thinking like, yeah, I guess that's something we definitely have to do. So is there something that would be more useful for you, Keith? Is there something that is blocking you other than the fact that the wireframe issue is not closed yet?
Not at all. No, I've been pretty busy actually. We're up to 5 articles, courtesy of Holly's work that she's been doing. So it may be 6 actually. We did wonder about the idea of using. We could have an article on farmers markets, and we could reuse. We got a load of copy written for the original farmers market scenario, so it's possible we could reuse some of that as well. That would give us a 6th article, which is great, I think. I do need to spend some time going over them and making sure that they're exactly what we're after, because I've just pretty much left Holly to it. But we had a good conversation about it today, and had some more ideas for further articles that we can do. So there's some quite nice ideas coming along there. And so I guess if I keep pushing, I know Holly's got some good availability in the next week, over the next week. So it'd be really good if we could try and hit, ideally try and hit 10 articles by next meeting. That would be great, because that's pretty much that landing page laid out. Even if they're draft and we want to swap some of them out because they're not quite right or whatever, it just gives us something solid to work with. I've been writing a pretty lengthy, I'm getting close to sort of 1.5 pages now of summary for sharing the designs. So just thinking ahead there in terms of how do we want to present the designs, you know, if this was posted to an issue, or I guess it would be at least one issue on Drupal.org, and how do we want to introduce them? Because I think that it's quite important that we frame, give the design some reference in terms of, this is why these designs look like this. This is why they contain what they contain. Here's some links. Please give us your feedback, but keep in mind that you need, we're interested in both aesthetics and purpose, and these are the links you need to think about in terms of purpose. So I've been doing that. Right this very minute now, I'm playing around with Wake, but I didn't quite. I think I've got to the point where I'm ready to put in a Slack channel to see how it integrates. But I'm not quite sure which one I should use. Obviously, I could use one of our own, or whether we try and integrate it right away with just as a test with the Slack for the new themes side of things. I don't know how it's going to work.
At least the inversion allows you to comment as an anonymous user, so that seems really good.
Sorry, Larry, I missed you there.
So at least the InVision app allows you to comment as an anonymous user.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I got a prompt to sign in.
Oh,
so yeah, I got a prompt to sign in, register.
I didn't.
As soon as I hit submit.
Yeah, I didn't submit it, but
yeah, they put it after the submit.
Well, maybe that is fine because of you don't want to get anonymous feedback.
No, you definitely. I'm pretty sure you definitely don't want anonymous feedback.
Yeah.
Because people is super.
Yeah, so it actually you don't need to register. You just need to give your name and email. Yeah.
Exactly.
And there was a conversation running in the channel that Mark chipped in on, which is why don't we, after I pointed out that I think there was no commenting on it, but I think that when Mark Bolton did his work for Blue Cheese, it was visuals done as just HTML mockups, and then it was easy enough to link to those, which I guess effectively that was a different scenario because it was actually HTML mockups, so they were taking that route. But Mark pointed out we do have the option if we want to have some kind of more controllable presentation style that doesn't involve one of these other apps, then subject to what's involved with Discuss, Mark, then Mark suggested we could just do the same, but do it with obviously with the static visuals, put some kind of navigation across the top that's simple to use and compact, and then perhaps integrate something like Discuss underneath. That was one option. I don't know much about Discuss and how that would work out in terms of suitability for this. And that would give you commenting against each visual. I guess there's not a... It does allow at least the visual to be presented at a size. that stretches to the browser, which is the advantage with InVision. And I guess the question we've got is whether using InVision when it goes to the community, whether that's really the right place, because could have an awful lot of comments.
Yeah. So
my session this morning, simply because it's a easy way of us being able to enable comments. You have to sign up for new accounts that you can log in with Twitter or whatever. I think once it goes to the community, we'll have to have them available on Drupal.org for the amount of comments, things that are going to end up coming in. And because it's our official channel, it's probably better to keep it there then. But for a kind of a quick turnaround, hey, look, guys, there's the designs. Leave a comment here. Just uploading the images and stick and discuss in the bottom half an hour. Vision is probably as quick, except that we do it doesn't, we may not necessarily want to use.
You broke up on that last
but
bit.
That might
there,
be a small.
Mark.
Sorry, InVision is probably as quick, I was saying, except people being forced to use an app that they may not want to use.
Right.
But you know, that's maybe just a small project to move the project forward. Sorry, guys, this is what you have to use just now.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this is kind of a quick-ish turnaround. That this will be a discussion for maybe one official.
Yep. I mean, and we're already up, potentially up and running in InVision, so there is a quick win there.
I guess. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, maybe just go with that. So, sorry, Christina. Okay.
Okay. No, I was just going to say that we just could try to keep InVision for now, at least for Slack right now, for sharing with people. I mean, it's just what we are using. We don't need to place any. We don't need to invest any more time on that. So we can focus on the feedback that we get. And when we post it on Drupal.org, then I guess we should try to think on something that just will be posted for a long time. Because if we use InVision, probably in the future, this link won't be available. And also what Mark said is that I really believe that the feedback, all the comments should be kept on Drupal.org, on the issue queue. Because we like it or not, it's still the official channel.
Yeah.
There
So
were
I
some
guess
really good points, Christina, I think. So I
Sorry,
think
I just.
Drupal.org is a good step.
Okay.
Or it has to go.
Yeah, I don't mind losing comments from, say, InVision or Discuss in this early stage because it's more. But yeah, once we here's the proposal, here's the designs, what do you think? I think it's probably legally we have to keep those comments. Then we need them somewhere. Drupal.org.
Yeah, it's like we just want to get kind of quick approval from the design community using the InVision app, so that we can, on Drupal.org, we can already say that the design community has given positive feedback on this.
Yes. Yeah.
Then the community in large can comment on what we have designed. Okay. That sounds like a plan on that. So sorry that I haven't taken time to update the wireframe issue, but I will do that, and then we can hopefully post the designs for people to comment.
Yep. That sounds good. And I've the only other thing to add is that I had a meeting with Jody again, just so that we just both reviewed what we'd done and started also thinking about the next steps. So because we've got some nice articles coming along, we've started thinking about the option to start mocking up a few just a few layouts, just content that we can bring into the design to drive home the publication angle of it. And also I have just a number of notes that we took from our discussion just to refine the design down a bit further. There's parts that are working perhaps less well now that we've removed quite a few of the interface elements, such as users. So there's parts that are sort of not quite working as well as they were. Some of those are probably dependent on amount of text. There's not a lot. Other parts are just making sure that we're using the best imagery in order to get the design working, because we do have that option with this scenario. It is all about that first impression. So getting the best images that we can, especially where it's the hero images. We were talking about how the publication element could tie in for that for featured articles, and we were talking about how on the recipes page, making sure that the what effectively is a selected image anyway for that hero banner at the top, the hero recipe at the top, making sure that works as well as possible with the text, because it's overlaid text. And yeah, just a number of other tweaks. So there'll definitely, before next week or by next week, be another version of the designs ready.
That sounds good.
Yeah, the designs that you've created actually look really good. Yeah, it's really nice. Especially I like the mobile designs. I had one question about the designs.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I ask that now?
Yes.
I don't know if someone else has made the comment, but recipes has the background, the kind of I don't know what is the name of the color, but it has the background on the wall page. And if you look at the order layouts, they don't have that. So which one is the right one?
Yeah, it's a really good question. This is one of the notes that me and myself and Jody made a note of. So you're absolutely right. It is a hangover of me forgetting to do an edit on the page, and it's just stuck ever since. So I'm just reminding myself. So on the current version of the designs I've got, both the features page and the recipes page, they do not have a white tile behind the card title. So they both work the same way. But when you go to the sidebar on an individual article page, it goes blocky. So this was based on discussions that we had as a team months ago now, where I think the general consensus was the blocky style, the card style, where text sat on white, was preferred. So maybe what would be worth doing is if I produce another version where we go with the blocky style, share that amongst us, and then we can have a quick chat which we prefer, and we just pin it down and say we'll go with that one. Easy enough to do.
Yeah.
Consistency would be good. I agree with you. It doesn't make sense that we flip-flop between the two.
Yeah. Another question I had, did you I guess the black and I don't know what is the color called again, beige or something like that. But did you check if the green and the beige color, the background color, if there's enough contrast between them?
Green and beige, did you say?
Yeah, because it's used on the, well, I don't know if it actually matters because of, it's like a button.
Oh, because of the conversation we just had about the adding the white tile back in behind the title. Yeah, it might be a bit close in terms of contrast. We can definitely check that. But as you say, once we go with a white tile behind there, that will be fine. Where it might fail is the more button. So let me do some accessibility checks on all of this as well. Just to be doubly sure.
Yeah, because we don't want to be like you know, once you've implemented something, it's like everyone's making sanity checks on everything, and then we at that point start refining the design. It is not a nice situation to be in, and that's pretty much what happened with Bardic. Like they had really nice designs in the beginning, and then because they didn't manage to take everything into account, they had to change the design pretty radically.
Yep. So I've actually just changed the color in Sketch already, and just dropped it in to be the dark. We've got 2 tints of green. I've gone for the darker green on the More button, and it works great. So we'll leave it like that.
Okay. Yeah. So now that we've discussed this, going back to the style guide. So about the accessibility, is this so? About the guidelines, that's definitely something that we could already work on, even though we don't have the style guide. So those are something that we could write before. And this one might be actually related to what Keith is writing, like do the issue summary.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Good.
So maybe
I'm
that's
adding
something that you can like. Did you notice that comment? Keith? I can post a link. So
yeah, if you could. I haven't seen a comment. I know that we discussed it in the last call. And as I say, I've just been focusing on getting articles written with Holly and doing the design, writing the covering note.
So I think the guidelines is a good starting point for the issue summary as well. Like you need, of course, a little bit more than this, but at least these things should be addressed somehow on that issue.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to get feedback from all of, like, we're going to be feedback from the accessibility team, hopefully. We are hopefully going to get feedback from the product team, which means that we have to have the brand and principles, and usability team, hopefully, and that means also the principles.
Yeah.
So these things would be useful that if we have documented. But I think the general styles components and so on, we don't necessarily have to have documented all of that.
Yeah.
No, they're not necessary right now.
Yeah, but I think the guidelines would be very useful, even though they wouldn't be fully like fully fledged guidelines that we would add to the style guide, as long as it's like something that we can use as a base for this.
Yeah.
So about the components, what did you use as a base for the components that you added here?
I just picked some of them from other style guides that I've been working or that I found, and some of them that I was sure or almost sure that they were going to go into the style guide until I wrote recipe teaser, and it was like, well, let's stop here because we don't know which view modes or which kind of cards or which names are we going to use. So here's where I stopped, both with the components and also with the layouts, because those ones also will probably need some refinement, or at least talk about that.
Yeah, so I think the layouts, we only have 2 layouts. So we have the full page. No, we actually do have more layouts than that. But at least a few layouts, not that many. It seems like it's going to be quite simple in terms of layouts.
Yeah, I think so. I guess we will have only 2 or 3. I mean, it's like the one column, the one for articles, the one for recipes, because it's completely different. Yeah. And I don't know, the one for the contact form, for example. I don't know if it's going to be a different layout, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably one column, and the form will have its own width. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to discuss it.
Yeah. Do we have tables number?
Good point. Not so far, but yeah, just something that came up in the content development is where we should limit the markup that they can add to each file field, because, for example, on the recipe itself, on the steps for the recipe, what are we going to do here? It's not like it's a what you see is what you get field, because if we want to add numbers, it's probably something with different a field with different values, or I don't know. And it just came up. I just pasted here some days ago when
Yeah,
it came up to the content.
Yeah, I saw the conversation.
And I don't know,
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
we could talk about that. At least at some point we will have to face it. So
It was
maybe not now, but
it was a good point, and we definitely have to figure out like how are we gonna deal with that?
I don't know. At the beginning, I was more on the side of giving freedom to the person that is writing, but later on, I read the article from Eaton, from Lullabot, the one that he says that if you want to push that content into different places, it needs to be more structured, and the markup is just gonna be a nightmare for that. And I'm not completely sure right now what I prefer.
I read the same thread. Really tricky one.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much of a problem for us as it is for them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's for sure.
And that's definitely something we didn't manage to take into account while making the content model when talking about the recipes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, in my mind. Sorry, Christina.
I don't know. Go ahead.
All I was going to say was, in my mind, I had imagined that we might look up what techniques are currently pretty stable to use from a CSS perspective for styling ordered lists, and then you could use the CK editor inside of a single body field. But as you said, Christina, Eaton left a comment pointing out that yeah, if it's actually going to be distributed in different ways, then some kind of repeating field makes sense. And so I got the impression, if I've understood it correctly, that the suggestion was you'd have a repeating field with the option to obviously add repeats, but each would have, am I right in thinking that each would have the CK editor? Did I understand that correctly? But stripped right down, really stripped down for basic HTML. So you could have one of them.
That's going to make a huge form then, Keith. Because if you add in 10 steps and 10 CK,
yeah,
it's low in the first place.
Yeah,
but also each step's only maybe one line long.
Yeah,
but I think
we do have the option of
HTML.
We have the option of formatted short fields. I don't know what's called. It's just text field that's formatted, but not long text field formatted. So that allows people to pop in HTML tags without loading the whole CK editor wrapper and the height of each CK editor box and things like that, not being such an ugly UI.
So do we need HTML on the list?
Good question.
And by the way, I might have misunderstood the thread or misremembered it. I thought that's what it was sort of suggesting.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, it just depends how strictly you read it. Like, it's like either it's a list with just text fields without any kind of HTML inside it, or kind of a list with CK editors or Markdown, or I think there was multiple different proposals that it could
Yeah.
be. And yeah, to be honest, I'm not experienced with development to like other platforms than web, so
Yeah, me neither.
really tell what they need. And but yeah,
I guess that we can decide, because it's not going to be a real project, so we can decide. I mean, for us, for styling, it will be for sure a lot easier if we have like a field, a multiple field that it can be ordered. And so far what we are showcasing is facing displaying theme, not an administration theme. So I'm not so concerned about how huge will be the form itself. I mean, of course, we have to think on that, but I'm not that concerned. I mean, I would at this point, what I will decide is to have multiple long text field with a really strict CK editor, like, for example, italics, bold, and that's all, something like that.
yeah, but yeah. So I think the difficulty is that it's not only limited to recipes. It's also the other pages. Like, what are they gonna do with articles page? What are they gonna do with the?
But that it can be a completely different field. I mean, it actually can be
Christina,
an article field.
that doesn't work like that for Drupal, because it's permission based. So if an editor, or if any user has permission to use that, that would be available on the article body field as well as any other field.
But
so
you can have
we can't say that this format is only available on this. It's available for this set of permissions.
Yeah, but maybe I'm confusing with country modules, but don't you can decide which text formats are available per field or per node?
You can choose. I think you can choose the default one, but I don't think you can limit the options. That's permission.
Maybe a country. Okay.
Like, because let's say if you have permissions for admin to use the full HTML, it's available for comments and like a bunch of other places where you might not want it to be available.
Yeah. Okay. But should we be worried by that? I mean, if we give them more options on in the editor itself, is that a problem? We already have the content created.
I
don't know. I was just trying to.
Well, then the users are going to break it.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I don't know. I think we should discuss this with the content of people. I think this is a difficult issue to be solved, at least like from my point of view. It could be just because of my limited knowledge.
Yeah, and also we can completely differ from the content team, because at this point I think we are using different ways to use the content itself, so we shouldn't care that much if we are using this a separate field. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This is
We can decide on the future, maybe.
And maybe we should just reach out to the Contenta people and tell them what we think and
Yeah.
try to help them.
Yeah, the thing is, what do we think?
Like, I personally don't have strong opinion on this. Like, either is fine for me. Like, even if they don't want to have any HTML on this, I think it's fine. But we still have the problem that how are they going to deal with articles and other types of content then?
Yeah.
So do you know what is their plan about that?
Load format. Yeah, it's a contrib model. Yeah, that's what I remembered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a contrib module.
That we don't want to rely on contrib modules on the installation profile.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, so
problem.
I don't think we probably can't solve this in any meaningful manner except to just trust the editors that they'll respect the input formats we've given them or something.
Yeah.
Or we can do form alter.
Or else have no input format on that field.
Yeah, that's also an option.
You can always do form alters if everything else fails.
Yeah, it might be a little bit tricky then if someone wants to reuse or try to do the same, and they don't know how to do a form alter or whatever.
Yeah, or someone wants to use it for something else than their Apple TV application, and they need HTML. They should be allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we have to just talk with the Contenta people about this because I don't have any answers for this.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
So we could just can try to fill the first steps from the style guide, talking with the other people, as you said, for accessibility. Let's wait for principles, and I can try to propose some components here after the design. Well, in some way, taking a better look to the designs, and we can just discuss it next week if you want.
Yeah. So maybe let's invite the Contenta people and let's discuss this.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can have then probably more informed discussion.
Yeah.
They can explain the problem more thoroughly for us.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that was interesting discussion that spun out of the table. So that's kind of the HTML components. Do we need to support them or not? So let's say, so do we have to support all of the HTML components that someone could add for article or some other node using the full HTML?
That's a good point.
Editor. I don't think we really considered that at any point.
No. I would say we should at least give support to all of the options that we give on the what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So I would add it as components.
I'm just checking which all do we actually have to support. Like what all is there by default? If it's, I don't know if there's some crazy elements there, it can be tricky.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably it's not too bad. I think the full HTML in Drupal 8 on the CK editor is pretty limited in its scope.
Yeah, I guess the most tricky one is tables, responsive tables.
Yeah, but if we go just with the default styles, Well, I don't think we have to create responsive style tables. Like, that's too hard problem to be solved, especially
Yeah.
if you like in a generic manner, like on CK editor. It's like,
Yeah, it's not like a nightmare.
yeah, I don't know if
Okay.
anyone has solved that. We should have a module for that. I'm just like
There is a module.
takes there is.
Yeah, I don't remember it right now, but there is. I remember using it on Drupal 7.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's called responsive tables or something like that. And it just looks on the body fields
Yeah.
or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't have Drupal installed right now, so install it.
Simply test me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I have now the Drupal installed. Text formats and editors. Full HTML. So full HTML has what is this one? I think I'm gonna go to the real node. So I have the basic HTML now, which is very limited. And I have the full HTML, so have bold, italic, strike through. Then we have the superscript and subscript.
Yeah.
Lists, number lists, block quote, images, tables, horizontal line, and then we have the format. So we have H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and formatted.
Yeah. By default, I guess the most tricky one is tables.
Yeah. Also,
so
having
I guess
consistent heading tiles is something. Heading style stuff. We definitely have to pay attention to that.
So I think at some point we should have a design for tables. And if we need a design for tables, we need a situation where we need tables. And right now, the only situation I can think where we could need tables will be like about us page, about pricing, subscription on the magazine, or I don't know, something like that. Because otherwise, I don't know where we could place them.
Yeah, but it could be first just in the style guide as well. Because
Yeah,
if we have the style guide, we don't necessarily need anything that uses it.
yeah, that's right.
We could work that into an article body as well if you wanted us to. Easily enough. I'm sure there's something you could write.
Let's not do it now. I don't want to work on tables now. I hate working with
Agree.
tables. So.
Why not just disable table from the input format?
Well, then we have the wall.
I know it's
like
cheating, but
yeah, I think that's a very good question so we definitely could do so because this is its own installation profile. So if you want to do so, we definitely can do so. But I think the problem from my perspective is that if we start disabling CK editor options, then we get into the whole discussion that we have to open an issue about which text editor buttons should we have enabled for this installation profile. And then it's going to be big bike shed about which buttons we have to have.
yeah,
Like,
okay.
if you just copy it from the, like we say that, yeah, whatever the default, the standard installation profile does is good enough for us. If we go with that, it's a really simple issue for us to solve because we just copy that. And it's like no discussion pretty much at all.
Yeah.
But if we have to go through that, I guess, then we just will do so.
Okay, let's just go ahead with the simple stuff and we can figure out later. Like, I mean, the style guide can be modified later. We can add more components. We can just forget about the table and put it later. So I don't think it's something right now. I don't think it's a stopper right now.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much out of time. Is there anything else that we should still discuss today? So, Christina, can you send invitation to the content of people, because you've been talking with them?
Yeah. So again, what should I do?
If you can just tell them that if they would like, they could join our call next week.
Okay, I think they still don't know what they want.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of like what we could discuss. Like we can kind of just provide this slot for them to also figure out what they want. Like we can go through it together.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I will talk with them.
Like they don't necessarily have to tell us what they need, but we can discuss like what is the problem and then try to figure out together.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Cool.
Anything else that we should go through today?
Nothing from me. Plenty to go on with.
Yeah.
Nothing from me.
Okay, great. So see you next week and see you on Slack. And hopefully in the UK, it's just Ireland. It's going to be something else than rain.
Thanks. Because it isn't.
I guess I think it has been rain every day since the Brexit, but maybe something.
Yeah. Thanks. Now I'm really feeling chipper.
See you.
See you later.